We Brits are a nation of obsessive collectors. Across the country, there are storage units straining at the seams.
Wow.
Groaning garages and stuffed garden sheds.
Wow. I've forgotten how much stuff I've had.
Home to dreams.
My director's chair.
Past lives.
That's unbelievable.
And untold baggage. And we're drowning in it.
Heaven's sake, what are all these things?
But among the clutter and the junk,
Empty box.
my mission is to find buried treasure.
£1,500 to £2,500 there.
Wow.
Gosh.
Unlock memories.
There's a lot of memories in 2 boxes.
And turn trash into cash.
260, 270, 280.
Welcome to the world of storage hoarders. Hello, I'm Aggie MacKenzie and I'm here to rescue 2 hoarders from their excessive storage. Our first hoarder in need is self-styled entrepreneur and part-time actor Graham Peters and his best friend Simon. After moving house, Graham rented a garage to store his stuff. 4 years on, he's got 2 garages that have cost him nearly £3,000 and his obsession with bagging a bargain is spinning out of control. So, what's happened?
My main problem is that I keep collecting, and it is an obsession, and it started off with my car boot craze, and I just cannot walk away from a bargain. If I see something there I can make £2 or £3 on, I will buy it.
Graham lives in Leatherhead in Surrey, one of the locations for H.G. Wells' celebrated science fiction story, The War of the Worlds. But there's nothing fictional about Graham's garage-based hoard.
I shouldn't really be buying. Give you £1 for that one, bit battered up. Or 3 for the 2.
He just keeps piling more and more stuff in, and he's a very untidy person, very untidy. Sometimes he'll just open the door and throw stuff in.
What's your best on that lot for the lot? I mean, there's nothing in it that's too rare. I've got a pretty good memory of what's in my garage. Everything from collectible toy cars to china, to some pictures, and lots of other things as well. It's a bit like going into Aladdin's cave. And once you go in there, it just blows you away.
But for friend Simon, it's going to take more than a genie to clear Graham's cave of clutter.
When I want to get rid of stuff, I just say, get rid. Never mind how much it's going to make, get rid just to make the space. But Graham doesn't like the expression, get rid, because to him that means that he's thrown something away that he's going to make a lot of money on in the future.
It gives me great pleasure just to store all my collectibles in my garage, and one day I know I shall cash them in and make my fortune from them.
With his jumble of junk reaching critical mass, Graham seems unable to stop himself.
Look at that, another successful purchase of the car boot sale.
But when it comes to the proceeds, it also seems he's a hoarder with heart.
More records.
No more records. Carry on, Graham.
What Simon doesn't realise, that I'm going to make him an offer. I'm going to give him half the money of everything that we get or find in the garage as a goodwill gesture of helping me for the day and just to show my token of appreciation of being a good friend.
Kind-hearted Graham urgently needs to get a grip on those garages, but can I convince him to wake up to reality and declutter for good?
Aha, so this is the garage that you're renting.
This is the garage.
And what have you got in here exactly?
I've got an array of collectibles.
Collectibles, I've heard that word before. I know what it means, junk. Is it junk?
It's not junk, no, there's an array of very interesting items in there.
Is that right?
Yes.
OK, I'll be the judge of that, actually. That's not nice. That's horrible.
It's got a little messy, I must admit, but everything in there, Aggie, is sellable.
It smells of mould. That's really nasty.
There's lots of collectibles and gems in there.
I'm worried already. But what about Graham's second garage?
Like an Aladdin's cave in here.
He's obsessed.
Look at that.
Oh, dear.
So how long have you had this one?
6 months.
6 months. The landlord must love you.
Look at this.
Everything here, stuff that you've bought from
It could be a Stradivarius.
It could be.
But it's not. Look at that, you see, isn't that nice? I mean, that's £50 all day long.
You are in cloud cuckoo land,
You think
aren't you?
so?
I
No,
do.
I totally
what do you
disagree.
think, Simon?
Yeah, he is.
I knocked the guy down from 40 to 20 for that.
I've said...
Yeah, and he's still, the guy still got a bargain, didn't he?
Look at those designer earrings.
Oh, with bits of hair, and they are disgusting.
Lovely,
They're
aren't
worth
they?
about 20p. I hope you didn't spend
I said
any
at
more
least
than
50.
20p for them.
But no, I brought those for 10p.
This is like the worst car boot sale that I've ever been to.
You love it, because you don't know what's coming up
I
next.
do not love it.
And look at that, I've got some lovely perfume here. Look, perfume still in the shrink wrap. And this was an unwanted gift that
Yeah,
somebody
did you
brought.
buy this off Oxford Street, one of those dodgy geezers that are always looking out to see where the police are?
No, car boots are purchased again. Unwanted Christmas
this says
gift.
bootleg all over it.
I'm a little bit of a connoisseur of fine things, and I know in there we'll have some antique and collectibles that your expert will love to see.
I think I'm just going to ring up and say, don't bother coming.
Oh, you don't know what's in there.
Well, this is the truth. You don't know what's in there.
Oh, I think I've got a pretty good idea.
Well, I'm glad somebody does, because we've really got our work cut out with this horrible hoard.
Little stool there.
Yeah, I'm going to sit here. You lot get going. Our next hoarder is Doctor's receptionist Lynn Walker and her partner Ian. Lynn's managed to amass an unhealthy hoard which has taken over the garden shed. But with another house move on the cards, she's now desperate to downsize and clear it all out. But how did it get so bad?
We moved house 4 years ago from a bigger house, and basically just shoved everything in the shed and just never emptied a lot of boxes because we didn't have the room to put it.
Lynn lives near Bournemouth in Dorset, England's most popular seaside destination, which was first developed by the Victorians and boasts 7 miles of golden beaches. But Lynn's found herself all at sea with her shed full of stuff, which is becoming rather a sore point.
It's one of those things we were going to get round to and never did. Basically just no room to put anything, and it just got forgotten because the shed's round the side of the house, and just shut the door and that was it.
The question of the shed doesn't come up in conversation very often, but when it does, we do tend to maybe duck the issue and skirt around it.
Get it out. It's now a mixture of Ian's stuff and my own stuff. He's got a lot of stuff from his parents, I believe, and I've got a lot of stuff from the last house, so it's all jumbled up in there together, really. It's just chock-a-block. You can't even open the door in there. It's full up. It just needs to go.
Lynn certainly got her work cut out, but the shed's not just full of junk, it also holds some precious memories of her late husband Jim, who died of cancer.
I was married for 28 years, lost my husband, and then was on my own for 3 or 4 years, and then met my partner Ian. And that one's a very special one with Jim and Ryan and Carly a week before he died. Very brave man.
I know it's going to be tougher for her, possibly, because a lot of the items out there will have sentimental value to her.
Sort of going through the stuff in the shed is quite frightening, really, because I don't know what's out there. There's also probably a lot of memories out there. Lots of memories from my husband, boxes and boxes of LPs and singles. And they've got terrific memories because we had many parties and fun nights.
But with a new life and another house move to plan for, Lynn's keen to get started.
My biggest challenge will probably be parting with things, and I think, oh, well, I might need that, I'll keep it. Because I'm a bit like that, really, I suppose. But I'm going to try and be ruthless and get rid of some stuff.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. To a clear shed.
Absolutely.
And as a dedicated horse lover, Lynn's got plans for any proceeds too.
If we made any money, I'd love a horse. I just like one to plod around on. I just want an old plodder, really. There you go, Fred. You haven't ridden for a long, long time.
Well, before we saddle up, our thoroughbred antiques and collectibles expert Tom Keane is going to give Lynn a hand with clearing her clutter. Hopefully he'll unearth a few treasures too.
So, here's a shed of sins or happy memories?
Happy memories, I hope.
Is it? What's in there, do you remember?
I haven't got a clue.
I know the Christmas decorations are in there, so I go there.
Right, well, come on, let's have a look.
Oh, dear.
Well, that's more than I expected.
That doesn't look too bad to me. It looks fairly organised.
Yeah, it's a very long shed.
Let's get stuck in.
All right.
There we are. You have to put
That's the Christmas decorations.
Is that the Christmas decorations? And Nid, what's this? Looks like some net curtains, is
In
it?
my wedding dress.
Your wedding dress, whoops.
This shed is stuffed with clutter. There's even a childhood friend hiding in here.
Oh, what is it?
It was a teddy bear that was bought for me when I was born by my nan. So it took him 56 years ago. And he used to growl, but...
This bear's older than 56 years old.
Is it really?
Definitely, yeah. It was the 1920s, 1930s, this bear, yeah. Straw-filled, probably Mary thought. Has he got a name?
Teddy, funnily enough. Original, but that's what he was always called.
Very imaginative.
Yeah, I know.
Teddy.
Inevitably, mementos of Lynn's late husband Jim soon start to emerge.
That was my husband.
Uh-huh.
He died, unfortunately, in 2005.
Yeah. How long were you together?
28 years.
28 years.
He died of cancer very quickly, unfortunately, suddenly.
How old was he?
56.
56, blimey. A young man.
Yeah, he was. He liked his music, so there's boxes and boxes of LPs, singles, all sorts, really.
What was your favourite song together?
The first song he ever bought me was My Eyes Adored You.
Who sang that?
Frankie Valli.
Frankie Valli.
Ah.
Yeah, yes. I'll sing it to you later.
Please don't.
You're probably right.
I think Lynn's definitely right, Tom. On with the clear out.
Some medals in this box, the no idea box. There's some medals. Whose were they? Do you know?
They were from Jim's dad.
Jim's dad. Yeah, so not bad for a no idea box.
That's true.
Well, who knew you could keep so much stuff in a modest garden shed?
Yeah, it's a lot heavier than CDs.
So, listen, take it easy. I want to go and get some muscle men around the corner.
OK.
They'll give you a hand getting these heavy things out. Don't put your back out.
The search is now on for the best items to take to auction. Coming up, our experts unimpressed with Lynn's clutter.
Try and find me something decent to look
I'm
at.
trying.
And I'm tested to the limit by Graham's car boot chaos.
You can't be serious. Nobody's going to want to buy this stuff. I mean, honestly, I'm telling you.
What's your best on that lot for the lot? I mean, there's nothing in there that's too rare.
Earlier, we met car boot king Graham Peters and his mate Simon.
More records.
No more records. Carry on, Graham.
Graham's lockups have so far cost him almost £3,000 with no end in sight.
It smells of mould. That's really nasty.
And Lynn Walker is hoping to move house. With the help of partner Ian, she wants to clear a shed crammed full of mess and plenty of memories.
Looks like some net curtains, is it?
In my wedding dress.
Your wedding dress, whoops.
Later, our antiques experts will be helping our hoarders pick out anything of value they can take to auction and reclaim some much-needed space or the cash they've spent on storage. First, though, I want them to split their possessions into categories. Keep it for the really sentimental pieces, skip it for anything old, broken or just plain awful, or sell it for the items they think could be of value. There's also a charity pile onto which they can put anything that's too good to chuck. It's time for our hoarders to get tough with their stuff, but so they can see exactly what they're dealing with, I've arranged for some help moving their items to a larger space. Now we can see how their hoards stack up. Graham's is so full of junk it's anybody's guess what goes where. While Lynn seems burdened with boxes full of goodness knows what, not to mention a load of old furniture. It's time to get sorting.
Look, it's
I've never seen
empty.
it look so empty.
You can get your car in now, Graham.
I don't think so. Oh, it's Simon. There's so much, though, isn't there?
So,
We can get...
is there anything in that case?
In Surrey, Graham's friend Simon's keen to get cracking.
That can go to skip. Why don't you put 10 boxes in one pile and call that one lot?
That's pretty good. I didn't think about that.
Graham, your flask is here that went missing a couple of months ago. You blame me for that, didn't you? What on earth is this?
That is from a Jaguar XJS.
That would cost a fortune to buy that.
His garages have concealed a mountain of car boot purchases from over the years. But to Graham, here are treasures just waiting to be discovered.
Oh. Now look at this. Watercolour.
looking.
Friday Street, Surrey.
It's not actually a watercolour. It's a photograph of a watercolour.
Well, it's in the style of a watercolour, but
print?
it's a kind of watercolour style print, but it's quite nice.
yeah, but it's like that perfume in the style of
That perfume
proper
is wonderful. And that could be yours later, Aggie. if you play your cards right.
If you can find it.
You are such...
Yeah, don't worry, it's gone now.
Among all this madness, Graham has spotted a masterpiece. Or has he?
Nice, isn't it? I can see you are a connoisseur of art, Aggie. I'm not sure I'd want it on my wall, but there's something about that that kind of really...
There's no way this is a Lowry.
I don't know, but I think somebody out there, even if it is sold in the style of Lowry, would like a picture like that.
Well, that Lowry copy isn't going to auction, but it seems there really is no end to Graham's optimism, and even Simon's joining in.
You know what they say, Aggie, don't you?
What do they say?
Where there's muck, there's money.
Where there's muck, there's
Where
money.
there's muck, there's
I thought it was
money.
where there's muck, there's brass.
Do you know what? Going on that adage, you're going to be a millionaire.
Meanwhile, in Dorset, Lynn's finally faced with the contents of her shed.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't realise there was quite so much stuff.
Told you it was a big
I'm
shed.
frightened to look, I think.
Holidays with Jim.
Yeah. Old dogs, old cars.
Ah, the keyboard.
Keyboard. You promised that to Jessie's friend.
Jessie's friend wanted it, didn't she?
My wedding dress. Good grief. I definitely wouldn't fit in that anymore, but I can't get rid of it. Keep on. Not doing too well, am I?
But amid the disorder, Lynn soon finds something to reflect on.
There's a mirror that belongs to my mum. Probably not worth anything, I don't know.
Hi, Tom.
How you getting on?
Yeah, fine. We just wondered about that.
Ah. These usually come part of dressing table sets, brush, comb, mirrors, sometimes two mirrors, sometimes two brushes. And it's got a faux, false tortoiseshell back, and as it's a silver plate and a copy tortoiseshell with a dink in it. It's worth whatever you can get for it. More of a boot sale item, 50p a pound now.
Right.
Is this sentimental value, or is it...
It belongs to my mum, so...
Keep it. So mum's mirror back to you. Sorry it's not more valuable.
That's all right, no problem. I'll put that on the keep pile.
Try and find me something decent to look at.
I'm trying.
Well, not everything is a hidden treasure, Tom.
What do you think it is?
Well, it's Athena B that was beached up in Brighton, in 1980. And that's a print that my mother got from the local paper.
Prints like this aren't particularly valuable as a whole. Because it's recent history, people will still remember it, and people would have discarded the newspapers. Up the coast of Bournemouth, where we are, it's probably only worth about 15 or 20 pounds. But if you take it further back down to where this took place in Brighton, I would have thought you'd probably get 40 or 50 pounds for it, local history.
So maybe the internet option.
Put it on an internet website, buyer collects. Now I noticed the childhood teddy bears here on the sale pile. Is it on the sale pile, really?
It depends if he's worth anything.
Straw-filled teddy bears really went through the roof up until about 4 or 5 years ago. There's a good, strong market for them. And for some reason, I don't know why, they went down in price again. But he's seen better days.
He has, I
You
know.
reckon? I think it's an English-made bear. It might be Merrythought or something like one of the better English factories from the 1930s, 40s. So when your nan bought it for you, it was already a few years old, which was nice, and she probably went for a bit of quality then. He's probably worth less than £50, 30 or 40 pounds.
I could keep him, couldn't I?
You could keep him.
Well, it's no picnic being an old teddy bear. At least he's staying at home where he belongs. There's still plenty turning up, though, including another reminder of Lynn's late husband, Jim.
So this is Jim's school report book.
I didn't know we had that.
From the Leighton County High School for boys. Date of entry, 6th of the 9th, 1960. Age 11 years and 8 months. It's interesting, this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Physical training, was he good? Was he a good athlete?
He was a good athlete.
Yeah, it says very good work here.
Yeah.
So, interesting reading. You're going to keep this, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic, good.
Something really nice to keep for the, for the kids. He was good at most things, really. He was the brainy one out of the two of us. But...
I wish I could find mine, but mine was so bad reading. I destroyed them.
Thank you. I'll put that on the keep pile.
While Lynn reminisces, back in Surrey, I'm still treading carefully through Graham's horrendous hoard.
What would you buy these? Or this single shoe?
The other shoe is probably in one of the other boxes somewhere.
Ah, right.
So
you know that's all mould.
Yes,
there,
that's
don't
mould.
you?
Yeah, that's could be maybe for the skip pile.
Oh, look, we've got another single shoe.
Yeah, but that's better. There's no mould on this one, Aggie, is
No
there?
mould on
no,
that
so
one.
look, and you've got some wear as well. So plenty of footwear there. So that's not bad. And the other one is, I'm sure, is around somewhere.
Oh, come on, let's be serious about this.
It is.
We're sticking that on the skip.
I will put that on the skip because it's going to take
And can you
ages to
put
find
that
out.
as well? That's all mouldy too, Graham, please.
That's not a problem.
Oh, now what's here?
Oh, a file
Another
effects.
mouldy. It's not. It's actually...
In the 80s, these were worth a fortune.
No, it's plastic.
Yeah, but even so, the yuppies used to love these in the 80s, and I heard there's an 80s revival as well, so...
We're not in the 80s anymore.
But you never know, that could come back in fashion. That's
You
going
could
to go
possibly
into the
put that
box.
into what box?
A sale box.
You can't be serious. Nobody's going to want to buy this stuff.
will,
Honestly, I'm telling you. What's this from?
That's a remote control for an Alba TV.
Yeah, where's the TV?
Well, the TV, somebody's got an Alba TV somewhere out there, and we've all got an old computer game as well. Very, very sought after, especially in Japan at the moment. So that goes in there. In the future, I aim to cash in and reap the rewards.
But how long have you been saying that for? 4 years?
Oh, 4 years at least, yeah.
Well, unless we crack on, it'll be at least another 4 years before Graham gets a grip on his groaning garages. It's time for one last push.
But don't throw that away. Look, that's nice. That goes in the for sale box.
Our hoarders have managed to sort their items into keep, skip and sell piles. Lynn is sending lots to charity in the skip, leaving only a modest pile to sell. While Graham seems a little out of tune with reality.
I think I've got a new career.
Do you know what? I feel sorry for you.
Is that all I'm worth?
That's generous.
Coming up, my calls for common sense fall on deaf ears.
There's a load of old toot. Come on, let's face it.
And will Graham's hoard convince the car boot buyers?
Film memorabilia look for £5. Like an Aladdin's cave in here.
I'm here to help two stockpilers in distress get strict with their stash.
That's the Christmas decoration.
Is that the Christmas decorations?
When I ask them to keep it, skip it, or sell it. The question now, is there anything of value in their piles?
There's a load of old toot. Come on, let's face it.
Graham Peters has spent 4 years and thousands of pounds on 2 junk-filled lockups.
That's not nice.
With a lifetime of experience in the world of antiques and collectibles, what will Perry Field make of Graham's collection of car boot clutter?
Has it been hard for you?
Well, sounds
Yes,
to me...
I think the answer is.
Sounds to me like you gave them a bit of a dressing down and sorted out a few things here. First of all, you've got a big box here full of model cars, really, little mini cars, and you've got dinky Matchbox, and you've got... they're all different ages and the condition is not great, unfortunately, but that is a big selection, that really is. So there is perhaps some auction value, not very much, and I'm going to say sort of around £20 to £30. We've got this violin over here, which is, I'm just going to grab it.
It's not a Stradivarius, unfortunately.
No, I think it's various, but not Stradivarius. I think this is a kid's one. This is one that I think a school might have issued because it's fairly basic in its construction, and it's sort of plywood, but it's cased and you've got the fiddle. So I guess somebody might buy it for their kid to learn on.
Okay.
It's probably a good starter one. And again, £20 to £30 maybe at auction.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something at least.
You paid about that for it, didn't you?
I paid £20.
Paid £20
I knocked the
for it.
guy down from 40 to 20.
Let's look at the records there, the singles. Now, whilst records, singles are not very collectible, and these are mass-produced, I mean, there's loads of them, there is actually a big collector's market for jukeboxes. And you've got some here, you see where the middle's been punched out? Yes. That go into a jukebox. I think somebody would buy these and probably give you a tenner for them as a collection.
That's not bad.
You've got a load of stuff here. I mean, absolutely, I can't believe the amount of stuff there is.
You've noticed?
Yes, I have noticed, and it's car boot land. I mean, this is perfect for a car boot, which I'm sure you know, and that's what I would do with most of it, if I'm being honest.
I could be the king of the car boots, aren't
Well,
with that
you'd
stuff.
certainly be the king of something, but I'm not entirely sure what yet.
Well, I'm not sure we've quite hit the jackpot with Graham's hoard, but at least we have something of value. Perry thought that jumble of toy cars could move at £20 to £30. I wonder if that child's violin will play well with the buyers, also at £20 to £30. At a modest £10, let's hope those vinyl singles don't miss a beat. Not a fortune, but there's a pair of paintings that have also caught Perry's eye.
And what we've got is a small pair of oils, and as you can see, they're signed G. Willis Price. That's George Willis Price. And he's a mid-19th century artist. He actually died just after the Second World War. Not of any great fame, but a lot of his paintings have sold at auction. In fact, over 200 in the last 20 or 30 years. Okay. So he's clearly got an auction following. So I think this is something we should take to a specialist, let them have a look at, find out what it's worth, and see if you'd like to do a deal.
OK. One of my better buys, then.
Possibly.
Yes.
And I didn't pay a lot for them either.
How much?
I knocked the person down from £30 to £10.
For the pair?
For the pair.
I think that's brilliant. That's your best buy. That really is.
Oh, have we finally found something of value in Graham's hoard? Perry sends Graham to meet fine art expert of 30 years, Michael Brookstone, to hear more about the artist G. Willis Price.
They're very nice examples of a very minor painter, I can tell you that. We know that he was born in 1866, but we have no idea when he died.
OK.
There haven't been a huge amount of these pictures sold, but the wonderful thing about this pair of pictures is that they're in marvellous condition. I mean, they don't seem to have been touched at all, and I'm not sure if the glasses aren't the original glass. And I don't think they've ever been taken out of the frame. In fact, you can see they haven't. They've got the original nails, the original paper, and the backs are very nice and clean. They presumably were hanging in one spot for many, many, many years.
And you've got the original dust as well, Michael.
And you've got the original dust, which always adds to the value. Whether they are pictures that one should put away for investment, I'm not sure. With pictures like this, which are very charming, but commercial pictures, I don't think there is necessarily a great advantage to storing them and paying storage costs.
Well, despite Graham's car boot obsession, it's always worth keeping a keen eye on your local car boot sale, as that picture priced at £5 could be worth a small fortune. A painting recently bought for £1 at a boot sale in Essex turned out to be the work of 17th century Dutch artist Edward Collier and valued at £30,000. Not bad at all. But what about Graham's pair?
I think they're small enough and light enough and pretty enough to hang.
So I saw them in a car boot, so it took my eye immediately. Obviously got them for, I thought, was quite a good price.
Well, I would have thought that if you put them into a sale and you put an estimate of 200 to 300, you'd probably be very safe. I'd probably even put a reserve of 150 just to be absolutely doubly sure, and I'd probably put them into a country auction rather than a London auction. But if you're going to put them into auction, I wouldn't touch them. I certainly wouldn't clean them. I certainly wouldn't take them out the frame. I certainly wouldn't remove the glass, because people love buying things in untouched, original condition, including myself.
I thought it went very well. Pleasantly surprised at the valuation. I thought about 150, and the expert basically said reserve of 150, maybe anything up to 300. So, yeah, I'm very pleased with that.
Well, let's hope Graham can make some decent money on those paintings at auction. But first, it's time to see how the rest of his stash fares. Graham's hitting the country market car boot sale in Hampshire with one thing in mind: making some money. So let's see how the self-styled king of car boots does on the other side of the table.
I plan, realistically, to take about £200. I'll be very surprised if I take any less, and I should be going home with an empty car. That's a certainty.
And Graham wastes no time pulling in the punters.
There you go, it's all cheap today. Come and have a look. Jewellery, into jewellery. I'll tell you what I want to do, £5.
That's the curtains gone.
Sir, come on, anything here you'd like? Jewellery, memorabilia and clothes. What about £5? I'll tell you what, that was made for you, that skirt. Thank you very much. Film memorabilia, look, for £5. Signed.
Graham's done some TV extra work over the years and even tries his luck at selling a signed photo of himself. Modest.
This could be a collectible of the future. Give me 3.
But incredibly, Graham gets a tenner for it. But can he get any notes for that violin?
The price is very, very reasonable as well.
How much is it?
I've got 100 quid on that.
Really?
Violin.
Wait a minute. Didn't Perry value it at 20 to £30?
Oh, yeah, I can see. It's not my thing, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's not my thing.
OK. But it's nice, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is
that,
nice.
That will sell today. I guarantee that's going to go for the right person.
And true to his word, Graham sells the violin not long after for an impressive £90.
Literally, there's got to be, I reckon, 1,000 different items in there.
But he's struggling to sell his jumble of toy cars valued at £20 to £30.
I will take an offer for the job lot. You made me an offer. What's it worth to you? £60 the lot.
No.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do with it. 20 quid. There you go. That's my best price.
I'm sorry, you can talk all day.
That's all right. Well, that will be gone in the next hour.
Unfortunately for Graham, it's back to the garage for the job lot of cars as they don't sell.
So what are we up to now then, son?
Well, I've got 90 in my wallet.
Right, OK.
And then we got about 10, about 120, just over 120 pounds.
That's not bad, though, is it?
Not quite the £200 he predicted. So as the day draws to a close, Graham goes on a charm offensive.
Thank you very much. Can you give me 2 of those?
Lots of money. Money is divine.
2 quid for it. This could be yours for £1. Do you want it for 50p? Give me 50p for the strimmer. I'm open to offers. It's all got to clear today. Do you want it for 50p? These actually at the moment change hands for £10.
The last items of the day are the records that Perry estimated at £10.
I like you as a kind of guy. You know, I think you're a happy kind of person.
I am.
Beautiful day today, so I'm going to give you the bargain of the day. Give us a couple of quid for the lot.
£2.
And I'll carry them over to your car for you.
That's just ridiculous.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Deal done.
You.
It all adds up as Graham's deal of the day adds another £2 to the final total.
I don't think it's gone too bad, Simon, do you?
I'll take back what I said earlier.
I predicted 200 when we started this morning, and I think we're pretty much on target, or maybe slightly over.
£210 and some coppers.
That's not too bad at all.
£210 is not bad at all, but now there's just time for Graham to head over to the auction house where his 2 oil paintings are about to go under the hammer. But what does auctioneer Robert Dodd think?
Well, Graham's lots came in as a pair, which they're not, but they're 2 paintings, and they're very nice, if you like country scenes. I've decided that I would separate them to 2 individual lots. It could be that sometimes you get more money that way if somebody wants the 2 of them. And you know, with art, what someone will pay £50 for, someone else wouldn't pay 50p for.
Well, I hope we can get a bit more than 50p, as the first of the paintings go before the bidders valued at £100 to £150.
And the bids with me on this first one at £42. Looking for 45, they're worth all of that, 8 with me. £50 I'm out, looking for 55, are we all done? On my left at £50.
The first painting just brushes past the reserve and sells for £50.
At £50.
The second painting also makes its reserve of £50. So, Graham, only 2 items at auction today, but both sold for £50 each, slightly below the estimate, but a total of £100, which, considering how much you spent on the paintings, isn't bad.
Yeah, so...
It's pretty good.
Not a big deal. I mean, I thought I might get a little bit more, but what I done when I first came to the auction today is lowered the reserve price.
Good for you.
To £50 each. And it paid off, they went. So I'm a shrewd mover, Aggie, as you well know.
Right, yes. So, Graham's car boot takings came to £210, and those paintings managed to make another £100, giving him a total of £310. I'd say that was a pretty good result after all.
This is for you. So if you'd like to open it and see what's inside.
Oh, my gosh.
Only the best for you, Aggie. This is some of the storage hoarding of me, you see, boxes.
Yes. Wow,
and
that's
we
some
open it up
box.
and look at that.
Look
at that, you
Have
see.
you seen that before, Aggie?
Somewhere.
The best quality perfume money can buy, only for you.
It's got sort of terrible memories for me, those perfumes. Well, Graham really is a larger-than-life character, but he's managed to make some decent money and cleared at least some of his clutter. I'm sure he'll be wheeling and dealing in the world of car boots for many more years. Still to come, some unwelcome news leaves Lynn and Ian wound up.
I mean, just to overhaul a grand sonnery movement is about £1,000, plus VAT.
But will the rest of Lynn's items chime with the bidders at auction? Earlier, garage hoarder Graham took some of his items to a car boot sale and an auction and managed to raise £310.
Do you want it for 50p? These actually at the moment change hands for £10.
Now it's the turn of Lynn Walker and her partner Ian. Lynn had a shed crammed with stuff, but she's already managed to skip a load of it, leaving some of the best items to go to auction. Antiques and collectibles expert Tom Keane has been helping Lynn identify the pieces that'll help her make some money in the sale room.
Well, Lynn, Ian, how do you feel?
Feel good, yeah.
Yeah.
Good to clear out.
You've got some bits here that I think can go to auction and be sold. And you've got a set of 5 World War II medals there. Whose were they again?
They belong to my husband's father.
I've noticed in the last 4 or 5 years, I'm finding medals like this are becoming more and more collectible. This little set will make at least £40 to £70, £100 on a good day.
OK.
We've got 4 Russian or Soviet figures over there. They're quite collectible, and they should make, all 4 in one lot, around £80 to £120 for the 4. Now we're going to come down to the stoneware dinner service. Now, Denby's the most collectible. This isn't Denby, it's a Arabia Finnish pattern stoneware. Now, where did you get this from?
We bought it when we first got married in a jeweller's of all places.
In a jeweller shop?
In a local jeweller's, yeah.
The stoneware is collectible, but it's an acquired taste. How do you feel about selling it?
It's got a lot of sentimental value, obviously from when we were first married, but it's been in the garage for 4 years. Just not used.
Now we're going to come on to the figurines of horses. You've got the Beswick figure of Black Beauty with foal from the Connoisseur collection. Now, Beswick, the factory first developed in around about 1895 and it had its heyday in the 1930s. They're still produced years ago, as far as I know. I think this will make between £40 and £70. Desert Orchid, I mean, it might be because I've got my own personal passion about Desert Orchid, but I think it should make 80 to 150, that sort of money. We'll wait and see on that. We'll be interested for the auction day before it, won't it?
So, heading off to auction are that set of 4 Soviet-era Russian animal figures at £80 to £120. Tom valued the 50s oak wheel barometer at a very fair £30 to £40. At £40 to £70, that set of 5 World War II medals should be in with a fighting chance. Back to the 70s for the stoneware crockery set at £50 to £70. At £25 to £30 is a striking classical-style alabaster figure. A group of Spanish nail figurines at £40 to £60. And those 2 rather impressive Beswick horse figurines, including Black Beauty at £40 to £70, and Tom's favourite Desert Orchid at £80 to £150. But there's one other item that's caught our expert's eye.
What about this clock? Where did this come from?
Well, it was left to my father by one of his patients.
Well, it's got a crushed velvet travelling case, and I think it's mid to late Victorian.
Really?
The very late 19th century, but it could be a touch earlier. But I think we should also take it to a specialist. He would give a price for repair and perhaps even make a good offer for it.
Tom sends Lynn and Ian to meet master clockmaker of over 30 years, Mark Taylor, to find out a little more about that intriguing timepiece.
Move this out of the way, Anne. What you have here is a very, very nice clock. Very expensive when it was made.
When was it made, by the way?
This one, I would date this, that's about 1890. So it's 23 or so years old. A Cannelie case was only used by the best Paris makers. Very few were made.
So that is a French clock?
It's definitely French. Undoubtedly, it's a French carriage clock.
All good so far, but why isn't it working?
The platform escapement, which is possibly one of the most important features of a carriage clock, the original has been taken away and a brand new Swiss one fitted. That's like getting a Rolls-Royce and putting a brand new Vauxhall engine in it. Originally, it was a very fine, valuable, good clock. It still would be if it was in good condition.
The first carriage clocks were made for the French aristocracy in the late 1700s, but their high costs meant they were the reserve of the upper classes until their mass production in the mid-19th century. The best examples can be worth many thousands of pounds, but if money's really no object, there's always the sympathique, an early 19th century carriage clock, an example of which recently fetched an incredible £4.5 million at auction.
So, Mark, is it possible to repair?
I would say, I mean, just to overhaul a grand sonnery movement and original platform escapement is about £1,000, plus VAT.
Yeah. Well, I'd be interested to know the value, you know, perhaps
Yeah, of course.
if it were restored and possibly what it could be worth now.
If this was in good condition and original, I would be offering you £2,000 for it. Unfortunately, because I know my stuff and because I know what work is involved, I could only offer you £500 for it.
OK. It's an awkward one, really, because I doubt whether I'd spend the money having it restored.
Well, it's a considerable sum.
If we did go to auction, would you say a reserve of 500 or...?
No, you've got to put a reserve on of 500 plus their fees.
OK.
Really.
OK.
So if it doesn't sell, at least you can come back to me, for example, who's given you a firm offer.
Yeah.
Sure. OK, Mark.
OK.
Well, I feel fairly awful that it was left in the shed for 4 years, having found out a little bit of its history. Maybe should have been treated a little bit better.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, don't be too downhearted, Ian, because it's time to head to auction to see how the rest of Lynn's lots do when they go under the hammer. So, Lynn and Ian, was there anything that you're particularly excited about today?
Yeah, I think probably the clock.
So, do you have a reserve on the clock?
Yeah, £800.
£800 reserve. 800 is a high reserve to have on a clock that doesn't work.
But we thought, well, if a dealer is prepared to give 500, you know, the potential possibly exists that we could get more from the auction.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't know about the clock, but Lynn and Ian have certainly brought a varied selection. What does auctioneer Matthew Caddick think?
From Lynn Walker, we've seen a mixture of porcelain, there's medals, there's a nice carriage clock, so it's a good mix of items to attempt to make money at auction. The Richard & Co. carriage clock is a wonderful thing. It's a good object. Has it been estimated too high is the question mark for today. We'll find out.
Well, we won't be waiting very long as the auction is about to start. I wonder if there are any animal lovers among the bidders, as first up are the 4 Russian Soviet-era figurines with an estimate of £80 to £120.
Where should we start on this? Start me £80 for them. Start me 60 then, we'll see where they go. £60 start me. Nobody wants to bid me £60, I shall pass the lot. No bids of 60 then.
Oh dear, not a very good start as the figurines fail to find a new home. Let's see if Lynn's set of 70 stoneware, which she bought with late husband Jim, will serve up a sale. It's estimated at £50 to £70.
£50 start me for these. £40 for them. Someone start me £40, I shall be forced to pass the lot. No bids of £40. No interest at 40 then.
You're taking it home though. You're taking it home. Looks like we're left hungry with another no sale. With an estimate of £40 to £70 are those 5 World War II service medals which belong to Lynn's late father-in-law.
Should we start me £50, somebody? £40 start me for all these medals, then £40 start me £40. I've been 5 surely. At £40, take 5 now. Are we done? I'm going to sell them at £40. Are we done at 40?
Thank goodness. The medals honour us with a sale, marching away for the lowest estimate of £40. The collection of Neo figurines are up next, valued at £40 to £60.
And £50 for these, start me £50 for them, £40 for them. The now figures are £40, no bids of £40. I shall pass it. No one likes these at £40 then, no bids.
Well.
Number 60.
Oh, it's not good. Well, the figurines failed to charm the bidders and leave us with another unsold lot. We're not doing too well. Let's see if the basic figurine of Desert Orchid rises to the rescue, valued at £80 to £150.
£80 start me, £70 for them, no less. No one wants to bid me £70 for these.
It's got to do something. It's got to do something. Let's see. No.
Lot number 60F, the basic figure.
So one thing sold so far. Well, it's a non-starter for Desert Orchid and it's back to the stable for Black Beauty too because neither figurine manages to sell. That reproduction classical Greek figurine throws short and the ship's wheel barometer also steers us straight into another no sale. Let's hope Lynn's high reserve of £800 for the carriage clock doesn't tick the bidders off.
Is there £700 start me for it? £700 for it? £600 for it, record the bids then. Somebody start me 600 for this clock. No bids of £600 then. I can't work with anything less. No bids of 600, then are we done? No interest at 600, it's a good thing. Maybe just a tad too expensive at 600, then are we all out? Lock number 61, I'll take over.
Oh, the clock winds down and fails to attract any interest at all. Well, all that excitement, and then it went a bit flat,
It
didn't
did a bit, but it's been good fun.
Well, it hasn't been a complete letdown for Lynn because the World War II medals sold for £40, and I have a feeling that clock will prove a winner one day. How would you say the whole experience has been for you from start to finish?
Well, we've got an empty shed now, which we didn't have before.
You said earlier that any money that you might get, we were thinking about £2,000 in advance before commissioning £40. Maybe the horse isn't going to happen.
No, I don't think a donkey's going to happen at the moment.
I'm so pleased they can have a laugh about it. While there isn't quite enough for a horse just yet, Lynn's definitely managed to clear the way to a clutter-free future for her and Ian. Join me, Aggie MacKenzie, next time on Storage Hoarders.